We are joined till 45 after by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former head of policy, Department of Treasury under Ronald Reagan, best-selling author, former Wall Street Journal editor, and also a great patriot fighting just the corporate looting that's going on. And he's very critical of George W. Bush. He hoped Obama would be better. Obviously, he's now pointed out that Obama has already in many cases surpassed the tyranny of George Bush. Now the outrage of Obama being given the Peace Prize, when he's actually sent tens of thousands more troops to Afghanistan, continuing the torture, the secret arrest. We'll talk about that, the deterioration in the dollar, where all of this is going. Is the headline correct in major newspapers that I read earlier, saying that already government central banks are moving to the majority in buying euros and other currencies as their reserve? We are joined by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. Doc, it's good to have you here with us today.
Hey, Alex.
So much is happening. Let's get into Obama and where he's going and the Peace Prize and your take on that.
Well, they gave the Peace Prize to a warmonger, didn't they? This is the guy who started a new war in Pakistan and who has increased the war in Afghanistan. In fact, today there's a report on antiwar.com that he's told the British he was going to send in 45,000 more Americans. And this was part of his guarantee to them to get them to send a few hundred more troops. So, you know, I wrote a column about it and said that it took longer than George Orwell thought to reach his version of 1984, but we'd now reached it. We'd given the Peace Prize to the warmonger. Now, the Nobel Committee claims that, well, they did it, they made this decision 2 weeks after his election because of his rhetoric. He was talking different from Bush, and so they were hopeful that they could somehow give him the Peace Prize and make it harder for him to be a warmonger. That could work, but I think most likely all it's done is to make the slogan that Orwell has in 1984, "War is peace," the reality for us. So now war is peace.
But it has seemed to have blown up in the Nobel Committee's face and making him the head on the rotating board of the UN Security Council, trying to push him as this global peacemaker when clearly he's continuing the exact agenda that we had under George W. Bush. I mean, I think this is one of the straws that broke the camel's back, and I've seen that the Nobel Committee, as you mentioned, is now starting to backtrack and apologize. And I did hear on local radio news, well, actually a national news feed, Fox News was reporting that, yes, he's confirmed that he's going to send 40 to 48,000. You're saying anti-war has 45,000, whatever it is, over 40,000. He sent more than 25,000 earlier. He secretly sent 13,000 more. That was confirmed. Yeah. And so he took 50,000 out of Iraq, but then put 50,000 more contractors in. And so I guess this gives new meaning to the word, words over actions, because we've got Code Pink now endorsing the war. Huffington Post just endorsed more war. And so now it's the liberal thing to do to go into the place that no army's ever defeated.
Right. And, of course, the worst part about it is all the people there who will be killed. We seldom kill any of the fighters. Not that we have any right to kill them because we've invaded them. They haven't done anything to us. But we mainly kill women and children and village elders. And it's just sort of a crazed act of murder. That's all it is, like it was in Iraq. If you count the displaced and the dead, they lost a fifth of the population. And allegedly we did this to benefit them. Well, how do you benefit people when you bring nothing but death and destruction?
What is the agenda? What is the agenda? Why are they expanding into Pakistan? Is it to encircle Iran and China? Is it to control the opium? Is it for weapon sales, the Unocal pipelines? They even admit, I saw CNN with a general admit it was a staged election. I mean, I have to pinch myself every day. What is the point? More troops in Afghanistan means more targets. Those warlords are always fighting with each other over the opium money. It's never going to end. That place has been in war for 2,300 years. Why are we there?
Well, I can't say I know for sure. We're there because of 9/11, which you and I regard as an inside job. And that was an excuse to start a war over there, but they really weren't mainly interested in Afghanistan. They wanted to invade Iraq. And so it was kind of a beginning of war that they could spread where they really wanted it. Now, of course, while we're staying there, probably the Israelis want us involved. If we pull out of Afghanistan, then we might not attack Iran, or we may pull out of Iraq. The whole thing that they stirred up with the neoconservatives, would simply pass away and be for naught. So I think the Israelis want to keep us there. And, of course, the military itself does, because wartime is when you get the most rapid promotions. The officers get promoted rapidly. They get, when they retire, they get much larger pensions. The higher up they can get promoted, the better their chances to be consultants to the defense industries, to the Pentagon itself. And so it serves the interest of the officer corps, and, of course, the munitions makers, the armaments industries. They give tremendous political contributions, and, of course, they're getting richer and richer from these ongoing wars. And now we have McChrystal over there saying that he needs 10 more years. So that turns it into, what, a 18, 19-year-old war. I mean, a lot of people can get rich, can get promoted, can retire at high pensions. And also you see the government, there's a lot of momentum now. And how do you back out? How do you stop? They can't claim a victory. There's nothing they can claim. They don't want to defeat. If Obama pulls out, we know exactly what the right-wing crazies will do. And the neocons, they'll say, see, he's a Muslim. He sold out the country to the Muslims. He's turned Afghanistan back to Al-Qaeda. So all those just basic political things play in. Well, once you make a serious error, like going in there, you get so many interest groups in politics that it makes it hard to get out. So I think probably we'll just expire there.
It's just going to be continual occupation of Central Asia for the foreseeable future. You're right. They're talking about a decade more. That's 18 years. It's like Germany. We've been there since 45, never leaving. Been in Korea for 50 years, never leaving, more than 50 years. And we pay for it. And meanwhile, the weapons manufacturers make a bunch of money. Our troops get killed, but generals get to pin more ribbons on their chest. We'll talk about the dollar and the death of the empire, the fall of the republic. The guys are laughing because during the breaks, I do 3- and 4-minute radio interviews. Just did one on 1360 AM in Dallas. There is no doubt I'm the hardest working man in radio. And one of the hardest working writers and researchers out there is Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. Always honored to have him. We've got him in this segment and the next. This is a short segment. Dr. Roberts, let's get into the dollar. You know, I got the New York Post saying dollar loses world reserve status, and then shows the numbers that governments and central banks, even our own central banks, are converting away from the dollar being the main reserve, though they're still buying treasuries at record pace. And I kind of ignore the New York Post, but then I see it in the Associated Press. It appears the establishment is trying to kill the dollar while pushing us under the water, saying, oh, I don't want to kill it. Here, I'm going to push you under. You're an expert on this. I can't think of a better expert, running the Treasury Department, doing a great job when you did do it, about where we're going in all of this. The banks are reporting record profits on the bailout money. Main Street is evaporating before our eyes, and they're calling this a jobless recovery. What is really going on, Dr. Roberts?